Morning. Good morning. Oh, we're going for another early morning, uh, somewhat sedated Belfast boxing and blues roundup, which may or may not be a good idea. But sometimes you have to take that chance, don't you? You have to just jump on it. You have to get in there. You may well come out with egg on your face or other sticky substances. Hopefully not. Hopefully, hopefully that ain't gonna happen. Who wants egg on their face? Really? It's gonna smell. You've got the yolk that's running out, and it's disgusting. It's disgusting stuff. You have to go and have a shower. Yeah, it's just a phrase, really, isn't it? It doesn't. Not many people literally end up with egg on their face. And if we've got some lighting issues. We're going to have to address the lighting. Look at this. Yeah, this is why we have curtains. There we go. And look, the flag has come down. We're at half mast. Let's see now. Where are we? Is that somewhat? Right. There we go. Yes, guys. So, is it tonight or is it tomorrow night? I think the fight might be tonight. Wait a second. What day is it? Is it Thursday? Oh, it's Thursday. It's tomorrow night. It's either tomorrow night or it's Saturday night. So we have Edgar Berlanga versus Padraig McCrory. I hear some people trying to pronounce that name. They're having some trouble with the sort of anglicised Irish spelling. So, some of the American guys are like Prague, McCrory, Prig McCroy. Um, hey, look, I think it can be an interesting fight. Obviously, you would kind of have to favour Berlanga. I mean, there's a lot of things going in his favour. There's more of a promotional push and stuff like that. There's that side of it, which just is what it is, isn't it? To use the most hackneyed but most useful boxing phrase there is, it's a wee get out of jail free card, isn't it? It is what it is. You just anything. You find a bit lost, just fire that in there. It is what it is, officer. It is what it is. All right, so no problem. There you are. Yeah. So look, I've watched some tape on these guys. Padraig McCrory's an interesting fighter. He can switch hit. I was actually watching a fight. I was going to myself, wait a second, this guy fights exactly the same southpaw as when he does when he's orthodox. And then I noticed that all the advertising bits along the side of the ring were all spelt backwards. I was like, oh, okay. But he does switch hit. And not more of a straight go into southpaw and fight for a period of time. It's more like Golovkin would do with the shift, where he would just step forward with the right foot and then step in with the left. That sort of way. Changes positioning that way. Sort of went in the pocket. I think he's got a great left hook. His left hook's great. Nice jab. He's a rangy enough guy. Good build. His left is there's a lot of power in his left hook, a lot of power in the straight right hand, and he could launch in a good right hook as well, a good overhand right. Um, he'll go to the body if he has to. He's handy enough with an uppercut. Uh, I mean, he's done all right for himself, even up to light heavyweight. He picked up that IBO trinket, and he's done quite well for himself. Belfast guy. He's sort of come on late in his career. He's in his mid-30s. He's 35, and as we spoke about before, this is a guy that outside the ring, he's still working full time. I think that's something that seems to work for him. Looking from the outside in, he gets to see his family a bit more, and he's not short of a few bob, which is always good, isn't it? So looking at Berlanga then, obviously, he had the 16 and 0 record. I think he's what 21 and 0 or something now, but he was knocking everybody out. And he hasn't knocked anybody out for 5 fights. So those first 16 fights, it was all first round KOs. And impressive record. Who did he fight? Who knows? But this was sort of how he was brought along. And so me, of course, being an Irishman, a Northern Irishman, as a British citizen, whatever you like, just a child of the universe. I'm sort of rooting for Padraig McCrory, yeah. So I'm looking for any kind of holes in Berlanga's game. Now, what I've seen of Berlanga, he's a big guy. He's got a big frame. He looks to be big for the weight. Not that seems to be having any effect on his performances in terms of being drained, or being fatigued and stuff like that. He's not having any trouble there. I mean, he's still quite young as far as I know. Puerto Rican guy. I think he might be an American citizen, but he has Puerto Rican heritage, and he's playing into that. He loves Tito Trinidad, Bernard Hopkins. Just I like that fight. That was the fight that won me over to Hopkins. Who I didn't like because I didn't like how he fought against Kawasaki. But when I seen him versus Trinidad, then I could, I had to reverse it. I had to open up my tiny mind and go, I was wrong. But now I'm right. And I'm just going to hold on to that for as long as possible. So, look, Tito Trinidad, yeah, great fighter, Miguel Cotto, and yeah, I mean, I suppose that's a great thing for a young boxer coming up to have that heritage to look to and to be able to look to these great fighters and stuff like that. And I suppose that's the same anywhere. You look to your countrymen and you have your idols, the guys that you watched growing up, and the guys that had that big success, whose styles that you liked and things like this. So, I mean, as a fighter, I think, given the size of the guy, he's quite a tidy little boxer. He can step back out of the exchange quite handily, whereas Padraig McCrory seems to kind of lumber in a little bit. Berlanga can be up close, and if he feels a combination coming from the other guy, he'll just step back quickly and throw like a jab. It's a funny one, he's stepping out and the jab comes and then he's out, and it's like a right hand or whatever it might be. Obviously he can work as a pressure fighter. He's got power there, obviously as the caliber of opponents has stepped up this last 5 fights. He hasn't been finishing these guys. Now he fought Quigley, Jason Quigley. He's a really good fighter, Jason Quigley's obviously a very good boxer. He's only lost against the best. I think he fought Andrade. I fought one or two other guys in and around that type of level. He's a very capable boxer. So, I mean, in contrast to McCrory, you're looking at an Irish guy then that was brought over to the States. Yeah, where they've sort of said, okay, well, this guy's quite skillful. Maybe the opportunities wouldn't be so great for him back home. Look, there's an option to come over here. Do you want to come over and try this and see what the crack is? And it seems to have worked out well for him. He's getting those big fights and stuff. And he's had good showings, even in the fights that he's lost. You can see this guy's a quality operator, and he probably fits in quite well over there in terms of skills and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm sure there's other look at that there. I'm sure there's other reasons and stuff as to why that's the situation. God knows. So, I mean, like I say, I did watch Berlanga. I stopped short of, going into this exhaustive technical breakdown because, I mean, let's face it, there'll be 100 other technical breakdowns out there, and everybody else has their own opinions and stuff, and there's people more qualified than me, and they can do it better than me, So with this one, I'm just taking a look at things. I'm, just sort of looking at it from a kind of vague type of sense, and we'll see what happens with it. Maybe when it comes to the breakdown, if the fight warrants it, if there's something interesting that has happened, in terms of the boxing and the technical side of it, if there's drama and stuff like that, well then we'll get into that afterwards, yeah. But obviously, it looks like it favours Berlanga. McCrory's in with a he's in with a chance. He's in with a chance, and if he is really motivated to go win here, he'll be looking at Berlanga and he'll be looking at those first 16 fights and the fact that who are these guys? Uh, there's a dubiety to the whole thing there. So he'll be trying to draw confidence from things like that, as you do. So you can look at the guy's record. You can look at the fact that he's young. You haven't knocked anybody out in 5 fights. Obviously, there's not much trash talk and stuff. It hasn't really been built that way. And both guys seem to be pretty respectful. So, I mean, it should be an interesting fight. I'm not sure. You know what? I'm going to open up this laptop and we'll find out we'll find out where the fight's being shown. Because I'm really not sure. Now, it could be some of this Amazon Prime stuff. Let's see where I would Boxer John Ennis. Who's this? Antonio Tarver. I've seen a very good thing last night with Antonio Tarver on the Porter Way podcast, which was very good to see. I've been looking at Antonio Tarver a wee bit. The Roy Jones fights. Seems like a very interesting guy. Obviously, he has his own channel and stuff now, and it's quite interesting to get his point of view. Being a guy that's been there and done it, and the kind of career that he had, his story and stuff as well. I believe Antonio Tarver had a period in his life when he had some drug issues quite early on. He dropped out of boxing at 8 boxing moves from his 10 to his 14, and then he dropped out and he could get into drugs and stuff. He had to go into a program, 6 months or whatever it was, and then he come out and he maintained it to this day. He seems like quite an interesting guy, somebody that's quite interested in the American setup and watching these young guys come through and stuff like this. It's something that he would like to be involved in. And obviously Sean Porter, the man's a beast. He's a friendly beast. He's a lovely guy, Sean Porter. He's smiley and friendly. Excellent host. His skills as a host and stuff are very good, and but that can lead you into a false sense of security. Sometimes you think, this guy's like a little namby-pamby guy. Yeah, no, 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 he's not. This is Showtime Sean Porter we're talking about here. Every now and then you look at him and you see the dog and you go, oh, okay. He's going to talk real nice for a while here, but let's try not and forget the dog, man. Let's try not and forget the dog. We don't want him to catch us unaware. So, where are we? Who are we looking for? Not Antonio Tarver. We're looking for, no, Boxer's the wrong thing. Al Heyman. Tried to Antonio Tarver. I'm loving this. You get into Al Heyman. He was talking about Al Heyman, and he was just saying that having that guy's support was like, priceless, and having that belief, Heyman having the belief in you and stuff. Again, shadowy figure. It's hard to know anything about Al Heyman. Like his Wikipedia is brief. That's right, brief. Right, Padraig Edgar. Who the frig is Padraig Edgar? Padraig Harrington. What's that, a golfer? Padraig McCrory. What are you, a golfer? And Edgar Berlanga. Edgar Berlanga. Like Edgar Allan Poe. There we go. Edgar Berlanga. Can do this, do that. Yeah. Alright. Berlanga's come out and said a few things here. McCrory isn't dangerous. Padraig McCrory saying, I'm definitely Edgar Berlanga's hardest fight. Could well be. Could well be. Styles make fights. You could be of the opinion that Jason Quigley is the more polished fighter and stuff, and the better boxer technically. Probably just a little bit more slicker or skilled. But McCrory's got some dog in him. He's got he's got some there's something going on with him. It'll be interesting to see if he really puts it on him. Something could happen. At the very least, hopefully we get a very competitive, interesting fight. And McCrory's talking about the Canelo shot as well. Well, why not? And let's see. 12-round boxing fight, Orlando, Florida, February the 24th. So that's a Saturday night, right? Or is it Friday morning? Look, give me the broadcast information, please. Let's see, we've got some information here. Known as the Chosen One, Berlanga has an impressive record of 21-0. He turned pro in 2016 after amassing over 160 wins in the amateur ranks. Really good amateur record. Remarkably, he won his first 16 bouts versus first-time knockout before going the distance with Desmond Nicholson. The 26-year-old is now promoted by Matchroom. Berlanga's promoted by Matchroom. Right. Coming off a 12-round unanimous decision against Jason Quigley. You didn't knock me down. You didn't knock me down, right? Quigley was down 4 times. He survives. Berlanga's reputation as one of the biggest punchers in boxing precedes him, making this fight an exciting prospect. Yeah, no doubt the guy can punch. So can McCrory. McCrory, of course, I'm not biased at all, and I'm just completely objective. Yeah, this is journalism, so let's remain objective. McCrory, undefeated with a record of 18-0, makes his US debut against Berlanga. He turned pro in 2017 and boasts 9 wins via knockout. His most recent victory was a unanimous decision win over Steed Woodhall. I had to wonder to myself, was he related to Richie Woodhall? Could that be Richie Woodhall's son? And why did he name him Steed? Great name, great choice. McCrory believes he's more than capable of giving Berlanga a tough challenge. I think he's a good fighter. He's 21-0 with 11 knockouts, but I'm confident I can get the win. Get in there. Now, on the undercard, we have some intriguing matchups. We have Shakran Giazov versus Pablo Cesar Ciano. Giazov, 2016 Olympic silver medalist, turned pro in 2018. His last fight was a decision win over Harold Eduardo Calderon in June. Cano, a former North American Boxing Federation super lightweight champion, is on a 2-week win streak. That's insane. A 2-fight win streak, I should say, with his last contest being a TKO win over Zachary Akoa. Antonio Vargas versus Jonathan Rodriguez. We're down to the bantamweights there. By the way, those last guys were welterweights. The bantamweights, Vargas, 2015 Pan American Games gold medalist. Okay, this guy's got something about him. We've had a lot of good Vargases down the years, haven't we? So, it's a name when you see it, usually you get a little bit confused and you go, oh, Vargas, yeah, he's good, yeah. His last fight was a decision win over Hernan Marquez in October. Rodriguez turned pro in 2018 and has a record of 17-1-1. So that could be interesting. I like the bantamweights. Obviously haven't been I continue to be a big fan of Carl Frampton. I like watching the guys at that size. It's an interesting weight there because the skills are there, the power's there. Usually the guys are so skilled, and there's a great variation. The pool of talent goes right around the globe. So you're getting guys from Cuba, you're getting guys from Ireland can be elite fighters in a weight class like that. So yeah, these small guys are worth watching. Now the broadcast is scheduled to begin at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 a.m. UK time. So with the main event expected around 4 a.m. UK time, 11 p.m. if you're in the States. It promises to be an exciting night of boxing. So yeah, it's the zone. It's the zone. That's all I wanted to know, and look what we ended up with. So yeah, other news then, guys. Canelo. Uh, there's been a lot of talk about Canelo's next opponent. Who's it going to be? Who can we be satisfied with? And you know, I heard some discussion over the fact that it was Jamal Charlo. Now, the Jamal Charlo fight was a huge disappointment, wasn't it? It was not nice. it was it was a bit of a washout, especially all of the trash talk and everything that had went before. I mean, for whatever reason, it ended as it did. Now, who's to blame? Is Canelo himself to blame for choosing this opponent? Uh, is it Jamel Charles? Is he to blame because he didn't come in and do what he was supposed to do? Uh, who was at fault there? I mean, regardless of who it was, we didn't get what we wanted. The hardcore fans, we wanted a real good fight. We wanted to see the both of those guys at their best against each other. But that isn't what we got. That isn't what we got. So now that they're talking about bringing in Jamal, it's like, do you know what? If Jamal had to give him a really good fight and it was like a dubious kind of decision, then it would have been like, oh, no, he's gonna fight the brother. This is great. Well, it wasn't really like that. So what happens next is, they might bring in Jamal, and Jamal has been out for a few years. He's been having mental health troubles. And of course, me being the advocate that I am for mental health, I will rush to Charlo's defense, and uh, like the guy's obviously been having a few issues, and it's something that he needs to look about. He needs to keep himself right, and I think he's only fought once in 3 years, so I don't know if taking the Canelo fight is going to solve his problems. He might get a nice payday out of it, but in terms of how that's going to set him up, where he goes from there. But maybe in a way he's already copped out of boxing. He's done this 3 years away and he's gone. Like, I took this interim fight versus Jose Benavidez Jr. and he says, you know what? This is to set me up for there's whispers that the Canelo fight might be in the offing. Yeah. So let's knock this one out and I can see it off into the sunset, I've got my money. So therefore his mental health would deteriorate no further, by that reasoning. Like, obviously the fight everybody wants to see is Benavidez, David Benavidez. And I mean, he sort of teased us. We were teased a bit. It was like, oh yeah, it might be. It's like Christmas morning. You're coming down. You're really, really hoping you got this present that you asked for, and you sort of said to your mum and all a few days before, and she's kind of smiling and she's going, well, you never know if you've been a good boy. You get down, you open the present, and it's like, it's not what you wanted. And it's just like, no. I built my hopes up. I always thought it was a bit dicey. It mightn't happen, but I really built my hopes up. So, I mean, me personally speaking, I don't really mind because I didn't build my hopes up because I didn't expect it to happen. I think if that fight comes, it comes. Just me personally, I try not to get wound up by things like that too much. And like, I can see why a lot of people are annoyed. You know, we as boxing fans, you know, the paying customer, have the right to demand these fights. You know, and not to mention there are mandatories and stuff there in place that you would think would uh, would be enough to enforce the fight. But as we know, you know, things don't always go that way in boxing. You know, stuff happens. These all of these organisations and these belts and these mandatories. You know, you look at Ngannou being ranked number 10 in the WBC. You look at Boots Ennis being given uh, which belt was it? Did he take the IBF belt of Terence Crawford and they give it to Ennis? You know, whether or not that was another mandatory thing is still kind of unclear. But it seemed to be very early for them to come in and take that belt off Crawford, saying as he just become undisputed champion. And of course, like, we don't like to dig too much into these things because every man can think for himself. But you do have to question, you know, do the powers that be want to fragment then the belts so that, you know, if Crawford does decide that he wants to take the next year off and then maybe fight one or two big fights, he keeps those belts away. You know, he might go up in weight and the belts are still held there. So what do the rest of the division do? What about the guys coming up? What is there for them to fight up? So look, we're gonna take it off you, Terence. Sorry, mate. Look, you got three others there. Okay. Now there's talk of Terence Crawford fighting Canelo. So how many weight divisions will he have to jump up? He's at 147, right? He go up to 154, 160, 168. And what's that? 20 pounds, 21 pounds. That's a big jump. Obviously, Canelo sort of originally fought at super welterweight, 154. I think early in his career he might have fought at welterweight a bit, but he was sort of like a natural 154, wasn't he? And then he grew into 160, and then, you know, he jumped up to 168. You know, and you could see when he fought guys like Callum Smith and stuff like this, the size disparity was there. But Canelo's skills had got the skill set had been crystallized by that time. The back foot sort of movement that we had seen in the second Golovkin fight, or was it the first? I think it was the second, where he was dancing off of the back foot. We don't see so much of that now. He became more of a pressure fighter with an educated sort of pressure type thing, and he was taking small steps, and he became sort of a master of that then. And whether he just clean forgot how to do the back foot thing, or I don't really know how things work in boxing, in a boxer's makeup. Maybe it's he had to let that go in order that he could work on this other new thing. So it's hard to know, isn't it? Look, I would love to see the Terence Crawford Canelo fight, and I can see where people would come from and say, look, he's coming up 3 weights. It's ridiculous. It's this, it's that. You know what? To me, I would rather see him in against Crawford than like Munguia. I don't know an awful lot about, but obviously he's been touted by other guys as one of a fight that would be acceptable in lieu of a David Benavidez fight. I would rather see Crawford. I think the Crawford fight would be good. You know, I think that would be a nice fight. Two very skilled guys. Obviously, Crawford's a big threat to Canelo, but there's the question of the weight. It wouldn't be like Crawford was growing into the weight either, so it's kind of a wee bit pie in the sky, and it's a wee bit ridiculous in a way, but it's, at the same time, it's like, it would be a big money fight, and even if we see Crawford at, say, 75% of his game, right, it's going to be a very good fight. You're going to see a nice clash of styles. You're going to see great skills on both sides. You would, hope to see a fight that went back and forth. The promotion, the build up, everything like that. We're looking at 2 massive names. This would be a fight that would live long in the memory. That would stand out in the history books. I don't know. Maybe it would. Maybe it would be a disaster. Maybe like Canelo said, he would knock out Terence Crawford, and nobody would give him any credit. And say, oh well, he come up three weights, yeah. Um, but this is boxing. This is what happens. Mind Brian McGuigan talking about when he beat Pedroza again. Big drama show, Loftus Road. The build up, the cultural background, everything that was going on in Northern Ireland at that time, and Barry McGuigan, who's actually from Clones, which is just south of the border, but he was like, well, I mean, obviously at that time he was a big hero for the Northern Irish people, and of course at that time we had our Higgins and George Best. His career quite wasn't the same at the time. Well, I'm not quite sure how the timelines mix up there, but it's interesting how coming through times as hard as that suddenly these guys rise to the surface, and but apparently what happened with McGuigan there when he beat Pedroza, who I think had been champion for years and years at featherweight. I think they thought he was a real, as Jim Watt would say, a fancy Dan. This guy was a beautiful boxer. Barney Eastwood said he was one for the aficionados. McGuigan's more of a calm forward, non-stop pressure guy. Goes really well to the body. Bricks in his hands, like. And he won that fight, but apparently people come out and says, he was old, he was done. Pedroza was 32. Or even at featherweight, 32 is not that old, sure it's not. But I mean, it just goes to show in boxing, sometimes you can't win. Sometimes you can't win, no matter who you fight, how well you looked, or whatever else. The fans and the media will always come out, and they will always try to play it down. It's very rare that somebody comes out and we give them the full credit for it. That's just the way it is, man. That's just the way it is. So I think Canelo, if the possibility for the Crawford fight is there, whether it be the next or the one after, I would like to see that. Benavidez fight, obviously, yeah, that's the one. That's what we all want to see. I mean, why wouldn't Canelo want to fight him? Two Mexicans, Mexican heritage, whatever you want to say. I mean, he goes by the name of Mexican Monster. An American citizen, but his parents, or one of his parents, is Mexican. I think the other one might be from Honduras or somewhere like that. Giving a bit of a blend going there, but it's hard to say. But he is a monster. David Benavidez. He's a very skilled fighter. He's a beautiful fighter to watch. If we don't see that fight next, you would hope to see it before Canelo retires, and it would be like a passing of the torch. Because not only is Benavidez a fantastic fighter, and he's effective, and he gets the win, he's powerful, he's got fast hands for such a big guy. In fact, it's nearly like a Roy Jones thing, because it's so unrealistic in a way. It's like, how is this big guy managing to get off all of these fast shots? And he makes it look good. He makes it look pretty. He is an entertaining guy to watch. There's a beauty to his work. Yeah, I like his stuff. I like Benavidez a lot. Right, I followed him from reasonably early on. I was checking out some of the fights on the PBC fights and stuff like that, and I could see then that he had something. I could see that movement there. Obviously, he lost. He's been super middleweight champion a number of times before. He lost the fight on the scales. Or sorry, he sort of, yeah, he lost the title on the scales for one of the fights, didn't he? Yeah, and there's another one where there had been like some messy stuff had gone on. He'd failed a drugs test for recreational drugs or something like that. You know, young guy, maybe just a little bit mixed up. I needed to get his discipline together. Maybe the fact that he wasn't getting the big time promotion and the push at that time, and he thought, oh, I can get away with doing a bit of this. So what's the sense in being 1,000,000% dedicated if I'm not getting the push that he felt that he deserved? Obviously now he's got the head screwed on a bit more. He's got young kids and stuff. He's grown up a little bit, and yeah, I mean, whether or not that Canelo fight, the Canelo Benavidez fight happens, I think we will see him rise to prominence eventually. I mean, Benavidez is still a relatively young guy for as complete a fighter as he is. You know, is he 26 or 27? Let's look it up. Let's Google that. We'll bang him in the box rack here. Where are we now? David Benavidez. Benavidez. Yeah, very interesting fighter to watch. Oh, there we go. We're back and forth and round and about again. And yeah, let's see now. 28. Career. What age is he, man? Age 27. He's 27. He's quite young for a super middleweight too. You see, he's got a big frame. You know, eventually he can go up to light heavy when he needs to, and have a good reign there as well. Maybe, you know, Beterbiev's obviously getting on in years. Hopefully that Beterbiev Bivol fight comes around soon, and we'll get to see that as well. Interesting to hear what different people are saying about who they fancy in that fight. I mean, I've made no secret of the fact that I think Beterbiev will really do him, but there's other people that really fancy Bivol. Yeah, so I mean, Bivol's 33, so he's getting on too. So if Benavidez can really dominate the super middleweight division for the next few years, then he can go up and maybe pick those guys off just at the end of their careers, a couple of big names, and go on to really rule that division for a while. And I'm sure there's other guys coming through and stuff as well, and that could be quite interesting to see. But like, guys, that's about the height of it. I think I've talked for long enough here, 37 minutes. Yes, and do you know what? That was my first cup of tea of the day. It's quite disgraceful to have woken at 1:30, isn't it? But you know what? I got a wee call this morning, and I got offered a wee gig. So that was nice. It's good to be active, isn't it? Look, guys, peace and love, and everybody have a lovely Thursday. I have a few wee bits and pieces to do. I have a guitar that I've left in to get fixed. Needed a wee bit of work done to it. I'm going to go and collect that. I have to go to the doctors. Where else am I going to go? I've got to Halfords, to get myself. I got a new bike a few weeks ago. It's fantastic. The gears are great. The brakes are great. It was out for a nice long cycle last night. The cool night air, the fresh air, man. You know, it's a good buzz, and the saddle's like concrete. You know, it's quite painful to sit on for any kind of an extended period. You don't want to be on it, so I'm getting myself a nice new sandal, one of those extra padded, you know, the best of the best, really, when it comes to saddles. Belfast Blues and Boxing, folks. Smash the like button and give us a wee subscribe as well, yeah. And drop a comment as well if you feel like that's what you want to do. Look, guys, have a lovely weekend as well. See you all there.